Hello and welcome to Jim's Code Corner. My name is Jim Belcher, and today we're going to continue working on our to-do list. Last episode, we actually created an API that would return all the to-do list items uh, that we've created in the past. Today, we're actually going to do the UI portion of that. So let's go to our Trello ticket here. We'll see that I've marked the create API portion as complete, and we're going to work on to the subtask of creating the UI. So let me demonstrate first of all what's going on at the moment, and then we'll work on how we're going to solve it. Back to the command line, you see I've already started our backend server here and got our front end running as well. So we should be all clear to go to our web page. So we'll go to localhost for 4200, and we'll see our task list here. So I'm going to go ahead and just put demo number 1 in there, and I'll create the task, and we'll see it puts in our task list. But the problem we're having now is that if I refresh the page, it doesn't display. So we've created an API to support that already, and today we're actually going to do the UI portion here, and when this page loads, it's going to go out to the server and fetch our list and display it on the screen. So let's go ahead and get started on that. I'll go ahead and open up the code here. Perfect. Um, so we're going to start right off at the component level. Um, so one thing that we'll notice here in our component is that we are implementing this on init uh, interface. So that has a requirement of having this function here, this ng on init. And we're going to use that guy to actually go out to the server and fetch our to-do list is when the page loads. So this gets called when this component gets initiated. And there are a few other implementations we could use. It's just ng on it is it's a good safe choice to use. You can go ahead and go to the Angular 4 documentation and research more solutions. I suppose Angular 5 now. So the first thing I'm going to do before I start doing any coding whatsoever, I'm going to go ahead and start my unit test. So ng test, and I'm going to start with something else a little different this time. ng test -- code coverage. So what that's going to do is going to generate a report for us as well that will uh, generate it'll generate a coverage report so we can see what our actual coverage where our unit test is. So we'll be able to see that in just a moment here. Wait for the test to finish running first. Okay, tests have been ran, they are all successful, and the tester is now running. So one thing that was created since I had um, that uh, that option set, excuse me, wow, I had my brain fart there. Um, it actually went ahead and created a report for us. So I'm just going to find my YouTube, Series 1, my to-do list, web, and we'll see a folder was created here called coverage. And if I go to the index.html, we'll see it opens up in the browser, and we'll have a nice coverage report. We'll see if I open up our component currently, it's at 100% coverage. We can go dig deeper and actually see exactly everything that is covered. So this is good coverage right here. Everything couldn't be any better. I mean, everything's covered. Going to the services as well, we'll see our services covered. The only thing you'll see that is not covered is the stub, which we just created that for testing purposes anyway, so I'm not going to write a unit test to test that. That seems like a waste of time to me. So with that running, we're going to go ahead and start writing a unit test for this guy to actually when this guy gets called to do something. So let's go to our spec here, um, and we'll go ahead and get started. So it's actually going to look pretty close to this describe here that's on submit. So what I'm going to do is just go describe ng on init, and function inside of that. Don't forget my semicolon, and it should add 2 to-do items to the to-do items array. And in case you don't remember, what I mean by that is, if I go back to the component here, is we created this to-do item array. So we're just going to say when ng-init fires is going to call a service, and that service is actually going to return 2 items in this test, and it's going to put those in that array. So going back here, so here, and once again, this is another function. So, and our semicolon. So, first thing we're going to do is we're the same as last time. We're going to just spy on our to-do item service. Wow. It's already going to be using the mock, so with the stubs, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. That's already been worked out for us. So we'll call the function get to-do items. And when we call that, it's going to return a value of an observable. And that observable is going to return an array of objects. So it makes it a little more easier to read. Okay. So I'm just going to call this, oh, don't need that, ID1, and item is test1, comma, and I'll just go ahead and copy and paste that, 2 and 2. So those are our 2 items that'll be returned. Cool. So next we actually need to call that function, that ng-init. So we'll just create component dot ng-init. Now we'll do that same thing we did above, listening for fixture changes. Detect changes, and once again we will do the same thing as again once above, and we'll just do fixture dot when it's stable. So when we actually get a response back, then we will do this thing here. This item, these expectations here, run these expectations, assertions if you will. And I like to do, like I said before, I like to do these detect changes inside of here as well. So, what are we going to expect to happen here? Well, we're going to expect that the component, that to do items dot length will be equal to 2. Okay. So that's now should be running. Oh, it failed. That's perfect for TDD. We want a failed test. Well, okay, it's running now. And it failed still because we didn't actually write anything yet. So that makes sense to be failing. So the next thing we're going to do is actually write that. And that's going to be simple enough to do. I'll go back to the code and we'll go to the component. Within this ng-init, we're going to write this dot to do item service dot get to do items, and this is not going to be happy with this probably, since I never actually created this thing. That's a function. We're going to subscribe to it. It's observable. And within that subscription, we're going to say to do items is going to equal, well, we're going to loop through actually, this response essentially, this dot to do items, there we are, equals to do item. So basically we're going to get an array back from the subscription, and we're just going to set that guy. Why do I keep doing that? Okay. And like I said, this thing is not happy. We never actually created it. So we're going to go ahead and just stub that out real quick just so it'll make this happy. And it'll compile because we'll see here it's throwing all kinds of nasty errors now. So let's make it happy. We'll do that first and we'll go to the services and go to the service. And we'll just create a function in here. We'll call it get to do items. It won't take anything in. It will return, excuse me, an observable. And that observable is going to be of type to do item, but it's an array. And That's all we're going to do. All there is to it for this, for stubbing. Well, actually, it probably won't because it's not going to be happy. Return null. There we go. And if you remember, we don't want to forget this. I'm actually going to copy this because it's going to be the exact same. So we'll go up to our stub. We need to actually do this as well. Except this is actually going to return. We can actually get rid of this guy here as this typing for a stub. And it's going to return observable of, and just empty. Okay, so now it should be happy. If I go back to my test, we'll see that we have a whole bunch of failures over here still, but it compiled. And ran again, and we're good. It says that it's compiled just fine. All tests passed. Everything's happy. So we can go back to our test coverage report because that's being generated every single time we make a change. And let's go back to all files. I'll refresh the whole page here. And we'll go to our list. And we'll see in the coverage here, this has not been tested. I should have actually did it before I ran the test. And I can demonstrate that just fine, actually. Let's go ahead and make this test fail to demonstrate this. 3. Demo purposes, right? So if I go back and bring up my command line, we'll see the test is still running, but it should fail. It is failing, okay. If I refresh, it's still being covered, but the test is failing. So I actually need to go through and simply not even call that. I have a feeling it's still going to be covered though because the NGI gets called no matter what once on creation of the object. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, okay, perfect. So we had a line here that wasn't tested because it never actually got in here. So cool. Let me go ahead and undo that that comment. There's that, and we'll fix our unit test back to 2. Everything's happy again. They should be. We see we're compiled already. Tests are getting ready to run. Test ran, perfect. And we'll refresh and we'll see everything's covered again. So we're still at 100% coverage on the component level. Now if I go back and take a look at my service, we now have something here that hasn't been tested here, this guy here. And makes perfect sense, we haven't done anything with it yet. Okay, so let's go back into that. We're going to write our service, starting with the test, of course, and get that up and running. So service. Start with the stub. No, start with the spec, excuse me. And just like last time with the component doing unit test error, this is very similar as well. So let's go ahead and just copy that and get to do items should return to do items. We'll say to do items. It's still going to use all this same up here. Still going to use our mock backend. This is going to change though. It's going to call get to do items. Still going to subscribe to it. Obviously, these types of tests ain't going to pass on. We're getting an array back. So we need to now, we'll do an expect that response dot length is to equal 2. Oh, 2. Okay. And the other thing I need to fix, and I'm just going to go ahead and make it a little easier to find and read, is we're going to fix this guy. So right now it's returning a single object. Once again, we return an array of objects, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy this guy. Put my little comma in there. It's going to be number 2. And I'll put a 5 here just for readability's sake. And just so you can see some like how I can test individual values if I wanted to, it's just an array. So I mean I can expect that the response at element 0 dot ID is to equal 2. And this would be a really good test anyway, so we can just see what errors look like. Okay, so let's go back to our test. We will see it failed and that is okay because we didn't write anything yet. So now we can go ahead and satisfy that test. So let's go back to our code and let's go back to the service, and we'll write this service real quick. It's going to be a pretty easy one, very similar to the one above. So we're just going to do return this.http. This time it's a GET request. This.todo or base URL, and we'll do a map. Inside of there we'll have result is a response, and that's just going to return it in JSON format. Voila, that should be our service. Simple as that. It's just calling the same URL as the post, but this time we're calling a GET request. Go to our test. We now have 7 passing tests. I will refresh my code coverage. Everything is passing. Let's go ahead and make that puppy fail with that that thing I said I could do with the demonstration here, just so you can see what what a fail looks like for this reason. It's going to be in the service spec. Let's make it 5. Push the wrong button. Okay, so test is going to fail. We'll see that in just a moment. Okay, and we can see expected to equal 5. Okay, perfect. I'll refresh here so we can see we still have total coverage. We are testing it. It's just getting a bad assertion. So let's go ahead and fix that guy. Everything will be good. Wait for the test to pass once more. Okay, they pass. Everything's compiled. We should now be able to go here, and if I refresh, there's demo 1. Perfect. So just once again to prove it, we'll go demo 2. I'll go ahead and create that task. There's demo 2 there. If I refresh, there's demo 2. Perfect. So now our GET request is getting our task on load. It is populating that table perfectly. We have nice, well-tested code. Um, Next time, I think we're actually going to be able to delete a task. I think that's what our goal is going to be here. So we're going to add a button to this. Well, actually, now we're not going to do it in this next video. Next video, we're going to do the API portion for delete. But the way it's going to work is we're going to add that delete button over here. And when you press that, it's going to delete that from the table and from our database. So next time, API for that. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, guys. Like the videos, share them, please, by all means. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave those down below. I will respond to you. I'm actually pretty good about that. If you want to hit me up offline, go ahead and just send me an email. Just put YouTube in the subject line. Email address is jbelcher1985@yahoo.com. And don't forget to leave any suggestions you may have to either further this project or anything else you might want to learn. All right, guys, thank you very much and have a good one.